Well guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Welcome to Hartung Family Farms. And today, we're back on the farm. It has been way too long and I apologize for that, but we got a pretty exciting video. So today guys, we are going to be explaining and doing a little bit more crop scouting. So if you guys remember a couple videos ago, in this one right here, we had Phil from Sound Ag come out, Sound Agriculture, and come out, and he came and basically helped us crop scout. We looked at some different fields, did some root digs, and saw some great initial results with our trials with source corn. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically go fly the drone and go see if we see anything in this field. This is my field that source got put on. We're gonna talk and then jump to the Farm Progress Show, which I went to a couple days ago. And then we're going to go look at our soybeans. But again, I'm gonna tell you guys a lot more about the product source. So let's go crop scout. So guys, this is my first cornfield ever. So I guess I should say the first cornfield that myself and my wife, and mainly the bank, owns. It's this field right here. It's 64 acres. And it's not doing great. It's been a rough year. It's been dry. It's been honestly a really rough year. We had a rough stand with the planter, and then just not having rain for 50 days really just kind of made this field look tough. But we do have a trial out here on our second pass of herbicide. I was able to apply source on this field on about 2/3 of it or so. So I have the drone up right now, and I'm going to cut over to it right now, basically overlaying these parts right here that I have highlighted is what got applied with source and what didn't. So I'm just going to fly across it real quick and just kind of see if I see anything. Just kind of off the bat though, you can kind of tell like the low spot, the really kind of ridges, there's a lot of spots in here that they're just lacking rain. So you can kind of see the really lighter spots are the spots that are really lacking moisture. The plants are starting to give up. It's pretty evident in a dry year. So it's not great, but we're going to look in, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to do some flybys and just kind of see if we can see a difference where source was applied or where not. I think I might be a little bit too early. 2 years ago when I did some trials with this, I was really able to tell the difference about a week to 2 weeks from now about when the crop was, or where the crop was applied with source and where it wasn't. Ooh, that stripe is pretty interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's, oh, I bet that's a nitrogen thing. Yeah, because we had anhydrous troubles in this field. So that's got to be an anhydrous bar. That's very neat. You can kind of see it's kind of, I know I'm recording the screen of a screen, but it's pretty cool. So let's go zoom in and let's do some flybys and see if we can tell a difference. Okay, so right here you can kind of see the border between source and not source, and it's pretty similar. Not, you really can't tell a big difference, but it does look like the outside pass does look darker. It does look greener. It looks like it's honestly more alive. Like you can kind of see right there, that outside planter pass especially looks a lot greener. There is nothing difference between basically right where the green spot is and the non-green spot. Besides that sprayer pass, I'm not sure why it would be, what else would it be besides source. So now I do want to point this out. So our sprayer is 100 feet wide, but our planter is 60 feet. So you can kind of see the planter mark. So basically the source did get applied a little bit into the lighter stuff, but I think in general, it does look like source is keeping the plants alive longer, which in a drought especially, that's going to be the key. Because, I mean, like I said, guys, like I've said before, doing all this scouting and stuff, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, what matters is what is actually in the bank, or what is actually in the... Oh, that's going to be annoying. Sorry, when the drone gets low on battery, it starts yelling at me, and I can still fly it for the next 5 minutes or so, but it just starts yelling. So anyway, we're going to keep looking at the rest of the field. You can kind of see there were patches in here that did not get source. The outside round of this field, of this chunk of the field, got source, and the right side of your screen got source as well. But it's kind of hard to tell a difference. Like I said, at this stage of the game, it'd be pretty hard to. I'm going to hopefully check it in a couple weeks or so to see if I see any difference. But again, at the end of the day, We have a really good comparison. Everything is documented. And at the end of the day, what matters is yield, what goes in the bin, as I've said before. And right there, you can kind of see where the anhydrous bar started screwing up, those 2 stripes right in the center of the screen. Not good, but that is not a source's issue at all. That was an anhydrous application issue or nitrogen application issue. And then in the center of the screen now, you can kind of see it's just a really thin spot. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what we see. I'm really looking forward to seeing the results. So guys, that was interesting to see. As we've seen in the voiceover, we were able to see a difference in greener spots in some spots. So to me, keeping the plant alive longer is good. I mean, the longer it's alive, the longer it can pack nutrients into those corn kernels, and that's great. And that's honestly where we saw our biggest bang for our buck 2 years ago when we tried this. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like. So now let's go ahead and jump to the Farm Progress Show to talk a little bit more about what Source is and where you can learn a little bit more. Alrighty guys, we are back at the Farm Progress Show, and I got some exciting things I want to show you. So let's go talk to the fellow folks at the Sound Ag booth, where we're going to talk about the product Source that is used on our farm quite a bit of places. Let's go take a look. You guys remember Jeff from last year. So Jeff is the main movie star from the video he had last year. But Jeff, give us the highlights of what this beautiful thing is. Give us your best Vanna White.
I've been reduced to the Vanna White role, so having a super good time at the show here. Giving visitors the opportunity to do a VR experience, to actually go below ground. Katie probably talked about this, but see a little bit about what all is happening. Right? What is Source doing? It's an environment that we know a lot about and a little about all at the same time. So that's pretty awesome. And then just getting a chance to meet the team here. So we've got a lot of our great staff, all the individuals that love working with you and every one of our customers. So a great chance to come and meet them and really see what Source is doing in your neck of the woods. So we've gotten to the point, over the few years you're working with us, that we are now kind of covering and touching acres in almost every state across the country here. So it's really awesome to get in touch with us about results right here in the local.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks again for being on the camera, Jeff. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you grace our viewers' presence.
Appreciate the opportunity. You guys will be YouTube famous if you stand there.
Yeah, wave. Alrighty guys, we are back at the Sound Ag booth, and I am with Ron Schreier.
Very good, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, what do you do here? Where are we at?
Absolutely. So, Katie Patterson, I'm the Senior Field Account Executive, and I'm actually located, we farm in Northeast Kansas.
Oh, nice.
So, we are here at Farm Progress. We're excited to be here, as we are every year, and this is actually our first stop on the road show. So
ooh, look at the nice fancy trailer that we got there.
See behind us. So this is brand new, and we're really pumped about it, and it's getting a lot of good attention. So there are 10 stops. This is the first one, and throughout September we're going to be in Iowa and Nebraska, of course, including Nebraska Husker Harvest Days.
Yes, if you guys go, I think that's in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's in the next. It's coming soon, so if you guys are at Husker Harvest, it's hard to miss this trailer. It's really nice, well done. But
and it's also, it gets a little toasty outside. There's some air conditioning in there if you need to escape. If that helps.
Why didn't you tell me that? We would have filmed this inside of it.
Not in there. Come on.
But well, actually, on that point though, why don't we go take a look and give the viewers a little sneak peek. Oh, she's not kidding. You guys need to come in here for 2 different reasons. Biggest one, AC, but also let's learn. So what do you guys have here?
Okay, so you're going to hear testimonies, what our TVs are talking about, some of our grower council advisory members and some of the experiences that they've had with Source on their own farms, so on and so forth. We also have different displays of root digs, what we're seeing in the corn. We have some in wheat here, we have beans here. We also have how it goes through the corn. So we're a full year application, and so we translocate down through the plant and comes out the root zone, so that is what you see here. And then it sends out the signals for the nitrogen, the phosphorus, as well as the micronutrients that are in the soils too. So yeah, and then we'll have in our area over here. No one's over here at this point. We kicked them out. While we're here.
Because you guys are important.
Right, exactly. So we will sit down with you. We have data points for many years and collected from so many different states from all of the source points that we have. And so we'll sit down with you and talk about, it's called our Performance Optimizer tool. So if you're curious what you might see on your own farm, we can plug some of that data
Yeah, because for those of you guys who don't know, some of our data points are included in that because we've been, like I said, using Source for this is the 3rd year that we've had it. We started it 3 years ago, so it's
awesome.
We've really liked it. That's why we've jumped on board with, or they've jumped on board with us.
Yeah.
And like I said, I appreciate you showing us all.
Absolutely. Well, we use it on our own farm in Northeast Kansas as well. And you know what? Dad just said, he goes, well, that worked pretty well. I think I'll get it again.
That's exactly
right.
The proof is in the pudding, and like I said, Source for corn, soybeans, wheat. I know I've heard alfalfa, but I'm sure we'll talk to Phil a little bit more.
Alfalfa, hay. We have cattle, and we put up a lot of hay, so
nice.
we have alfalfa and hay. It also does very, very well in silage as well as cotton. So I can talk about those as well sometimes.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Very good. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, we are back again with the famous Phil Long. Phil, how does it feel now that you've graced everybody here with your presence? How's it been? It's been about a month.
It has, and it feels better because you're standing about a foot lower than
I didn't even realize that. He's more on my level.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know, but I mean, I am 6'5". The camera does not show it justice, and Phil's a little bit shorter than that, so that's okay. But Phil, I guess talk to me a little bit more. What exactly does Source do? I know we got a little bit of props behind us. You touched on it a little bit in our previous video, but for those of the newer viewers, I guess what is Source actually doing for the plant?
Yeah, sure. So Source is really unlocking those nutrients all season long. I mean, we got a graph here that shows that it's more than just nitrogen and phosphorus, which is what we primarily talk about, because it's focused on those, that bacteria and those microbes in the soil. But really, it's working on everything, And you had application there at tassel, so it's working for more than just one time frame. It's over all the season. So if you're putting it on at tassel, we got a couple of years here. Sometimes you don't always see that. It's funny how those late season things pop out and you don't even notice it, because I'm not going to break this nice ear.
Yeah, it's a real nice ear.
Kernel depth and kernel weight, that test weight makes a big difference, and even just filling to the tip, like in this example, can make a big difference on yield. Maybe just a couple bushels, but
that adds up.
That test weight too. A lot of people like to see that a little higher. So it's always a nice benefit too.
Exactly, and what we've talked about before, when we did the root digs and the soil test, and as you guys have seen, the soil tests that we had were very favorable. We increased 2 out of our 3 main macronutrients, but also the micros looked favorable in some cases as well. So we saw that, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, and like you said, test weight, that will pay for a pass. Extra current, there's so many different ways that you can make it such a good return on investment with Source. That is why we've chosen to continue to apply them on our farm, and that's kind of why we like working with you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's a lot of visual differences. We're looking at ears now, we're looking at roots. Obviously, that visual stimulates you, that you can see that enhanced root mass. That's exciting to see. Or better plant health. Late season is typically something we see,
and that's
you may not always see a bunch more extra biomass, but a lot of times we do. So every little bit helps, and that plant, obviously, the longer it stays green, the more biomass there. That all feeds down into this ear.
And we've figured that out firsthand, because that was actually what really turned us on to Source. That we tried a little bit 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I forget what it was, and where we applied it, I mean, the plant was still alive. It was green 2 weeks well past the stuff that are controlled. The stuff that wasn't planted already died out. So that late season stand really helped us out, because it actually ended up being we had a really late windstorm. And that stuff stayed standing versus the stuff fell down. That's huge. That's huge.
We've also seen a lot of differences in stalk diameter as well, and that rind strength, like you said, very important, especially in Iowa and West.
Especially for the people that like to drag their feet a little bit on harvest. I'm not saying we're guilty of it, but I'm also not saying we're not. So I think you were talking to me a little bit before about how Sources just keep continuing to expand as you guys know and learn more about the value that it provides for other crops. I guess tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah. We always want to make sure we're giving the best product to the farmer. We want to see ROIs. We want to make sure we're helping the farmer. So last year it was Source corn. This year it's going to be Source DC. That product covers corn, silage. If you're into silage, it makes a big impact on not only tonnage but quality.
Really? Okay.
Hay crops as well, as far as the biomass. So that product got a better formulation. It's 1 ounce per acre, a little simpler maybe than the 0.7, but so 128 ounces, 1 gallon is going to cover 128 acres. Maybe a little simpler for the math.
A little bit.
Then we have our other product, which is going to be XC. That's going to be, we had SC before, now it's XC. And that's two parts to that product, half of each essentially, and that's going to do a little bit more for us on the soybean side. We've seen a better return as well as a little better yield response on the soybeans. So that covers soybeans and wheat. The DC covers basically the rest of what we got.
That's good to know. And we have applied both those products on our farm this year. So you guys are going to have a tried and true ground truth of results here. Well, obviously in a couple months. We're still a little bit away from harvest, but the stuff's applied. We will be scouting that here soon. That'll be towards the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's awesome. So just to recap, so Source Corn is now Source DC. And then Source, you say it used to be SC. I remember that was on the jug.
Yeah.
So Source SC is now XC.
XC. Yeah,
Perfect. That makes sense.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Phil. Like I said, it's a pleasure as always. Hopefully we can have you out here at harvest time. That'd be great.
Looking forward to it.
So, perfect.
Thanks.
Huge thanks to the sound guys for having me out. So now let's jump to some crop scouting. I hope you enjoyed that content from the Farm Progress Show as much as I enjoyed filming it. The guys at Sound Agriculture, they're great people. Feel free to reach out because it literally hurts nothing to learn more about what Source can do for you. But now we're gonna get to the farm. We actually sprayed Source XC, I believe is what they're calling it now. It was called SC when I sprayed it. But basically that's the soybean mixture for my area, or for really in general. But we're gonna go look at that because I know we sprayed some soybeans this year. So I'm gonna go check and see what all we got sprayed, and we might even do a little bit more scouting at the end of this video because I'm hoping we had 3 different applications of Source this year. I'm hoping we had some Source put on with our herbicide pass on soybeans. I know we had Source put on with our herbicide pass on corn, but I'm also hoping that we had some Source put on with our fungicide pass on corn. So let's go to the farm, check that out, and then we can do a little bit more crop scouting. Alrighty guys, so we are doing a quick drone flyover. This is at 2.5 speed. So you can kind of see Pat is spraying the last soybean field of the year, and we're just getting into the cornfield. See that kind of lighter pass on the left hand side? Looks like the plane missed that because that is a little bit of disease and the plant is giving up early, but the rest of this field looks great, pretty even, and honestly I'm excited to see what it yields. So as far as what we applied Source, we were not able to apply any on the fungicide pass. I'm guessing me not being around kind of helped. That guys forgot about it, so that kind of stinks, but I guess it is what it is. Oh well. So but we did get our soybeans sprayed. We have 80 acres of soybeans that got sprayed with Source. Here's our neighbor's field. You can kind of see the really dark green spot in the top. He's a no-till farmer, and that's where that fire was, and right where that dark green spot is where we tilled. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, so we did get Source sprayed on about 80 acres of soybeans. We have one comparison side by side. We have another comparison that's a full fieldless spray with Source, but a similar variety was planted right next to it same date. So we should have a pretty good comparison, and I'm really looking forward to that. And the rest of these, like I said, I'm just kind of out looking for fields, looking for any abnormalities. All the crops around Grandma's house looks pretty decent. They got a little bit more rain than my field, so really looking forward to harvest. Harvest should be here before we know it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed those drone footage. Unfortunately, I don't have any other fields around here that get sprayed with Source, so we really can't go scout them yet. But again, the proof will be in the pudding, and I have the utmost confidence that we will have a lot of data that proves that Source is a good bang for the buck. But that's what I'm here for. I'm going to tell you guys regardless, but I believe in the product. We've seen in the soil test that it is beneficial, so we will see. So with the 80 acres that we have sprayed with soybeans and the roughly 400 acres that we have sprayed with Source corn, you guys will see in the next video, in the installment of this series, that we will see the results. We will be rolling the combines across the field because in case you guys didn't notice at the beginning of this video, my corn's, it's given up. It's dry, it's bad. So we're going to start chopping tomorrow. We are probably 3-ish weeks away from harvest if we want to. So it'll come quick, guys. So I hope you guys take it easy, stay safe. To stay tuned for next time. Thanks again for Source and Sound Agriculture for sponsoring this video. And of course, guys, as always, ta-ta for now.